everybody, hello everybody, hello everybody, hello everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like therian content, furry content, arts and crafts, you are in the right place. Make sure to hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content, and let's get into the video. So today's video is another thing about a bunch of, hold on. Today's video is about another thing that I am mad about, and this is directed directly at the adults in the therian community and the furry community. We're getting deep today. We're talking about some awful stuff that a lot of people have been doing, and I need to put a stop to it. Now, is this video going to put a stop to it? I hope so. But if it doesn't, then, you know, I tried. But guys, there is so many things in both the therian and the furry communities that need to stop, and a lot of it begins with the adults in these spaces. Now, I am not talking about, like, adults only spaces. What goes on in there is adults only, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to apply to anybody. But sometimes these things get into spaces where they shouldn't be, and that is where I have some problems. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to discuss, which is of utmost importance, is directed entirely towards the adults in this community, both the therian and furry communities. Now, as an adult, I am 21. Now, I'm younger than you probably were expecting, but yes, I am only 21. But as for adults in this context, I'm talking anyone over the age of 18 years old. Now, when posting on the internet, you have kind of a bit of responsibility. Now, a lot of people don't like to admit that, but you have a bit of responsibility in what content you're posting and where that content goes. Now, of course, you can't control who sees your videos. It's essentially random who watches and what goes where. But you can control the content and limit the spread of things that may be inappropriate for younger audiences. Now, I am not going into specifics because that is not what this video is about, but there was a situation recently where someone in the therian community made a very adult, inappropriate, zoo style, if you know what I'm talking about, product for, I guess, relieving species dysphoria. It was a species packer. If you don't know what that is, does not matter. But it was inappropriate and was just posted just publicly on the internet. Now, I have a couple problems with this, but one might not be what you're expecting. A therian packer. Now, I don't even know where to start with this. Now, a packer, for those of you who don't know, is a prosthetic it's a fake piece of genitalia that transgender people usually use to relieve dysphoria. Now, a species packer is an animal version of this, and I should not even begin to be able to tell you why that is so wrong and why we should not be doing this, but nonetheless, it was created and it blew up in the therian community. Now, I obviously have a problem with the therian species dysphoria packer. I'm not going to talk about it in this video because that's inappropriate. My channel is pretty family friendly. But I am going to talk about the response the community had to this situation because I have so many problems with it. Now, first of all, I think people need to remember that you do not need to make call-out posts for everything. Now, I know this seemed a bit extreme, like, yeah, a species packer, that's pretty nuts. Maybe we should make a call-out. But I think maybe this time we should have just blocked and reported. See, this whole thing would have been swept under the rug and forgotten about, and nobody would have been damaged by it. And by damaged by it, I mean the minors who were involved in this situation and who stumbled across this content and are now exposed to this side of things. But if we had never made millions of posts, and not millions, but a bunch of posts, talking about how this is wrong and putting them on blast, maybe less people would have found out about it, and therefore less people would have known about it, because people get inspired by these kind of things, my friends. People get inspired by them, and then they make their own, and then it spreads. And has this spread? I don't know. I don't want to know. But there is a chance that because this got as much attention as it did, that people are doing their own thing now, and it's making it worse. Another point that I'd like to point out is that a lot of people who should not have been exposed to that sexual part of, I guess, the community. Now, is it sexual? I say yes because it features genitalia. Whether it's for dysphoria or not, it is sexual inherently because it features genitalia. Let me just make that clear. But so many people would not have been exposed to this inappropriate thing if we had just blocked them and reported them instead of putting them on blast so that everyone now knows about them, because now everyone will forever know about them, because that's how the internet works. Which now brings me into the topic of the furry community, where this kind of thing happens all the time. Now, the furry community has very inherently sexual parts. There are parts of the furry community that are not safe for work, that are sexual, that are adults-only spaces, as there is in pretty much any community. Now, one thing about this, though, is that these spaces, if you are posting 18+ content, that should stay in 18+ spaces. Now, posting things on the internet, obviously things go where they want to go, but if you're not posting on a private account, if you're posting on a public account, not safe for work content, and you don't disclose anywhere that it is not for minors, and also, if you are posting stuff that is on the basic internet, such as TikTok, Instagram, Twitter's a different story, but things like that. If you're posting not safe for work stuff and your account isn't private and it's not limited on who can view it, that's a big problem. Because again, it's not necessarily your responsibility to watch, see whoever interacts with your content. You can't control that. But also, if you could prevent a bunch of people who shouldn't be seeing your content from seeing your content and you just don't, I honestly think you're a bad person. But for the most part, the therian and furry communities are not adults-only spaces. There's a lot of it that is safe for work, and that is for anyone of all ages, and that's what my account tries to be. But of course, I have to touch on things like this because sometimes adults are gross, and I need to point it out. And because adults are gross, this brings me into another point, and that is if you are over the age of 18 years old, okay? Listen to me, this is serious. If you are over the age of 18 years old, okay? If you're in your 20s, if you're older than that especially, and you're talking to people, in direct messages, which includes group chats, with people, under the age of 18 or, 16 and under, I have to question what is wrong with you. Now, I'm just going to talk about this because this is a huge problem in both the therian and furry communities, and that is minors and adults interacting in ways that they should not be interacting in. This may be a controversial opinion, but I don't think it should be, that anyone over the age of 18, okay, who is actively making friends with people who are 16 or under the age of 16. 17 and 18 is kind of a different area if you're in your 20s. Still though, still weird. You should not be making friends with minors as an adult in online kind of chat rooms and direct messages. It's very, very weird for adults to make friends with young people online and talk to them in direct messages, because it's so incredibly dangerous and also just so irresponsible. I just cannot believe it. So what's the problem with adults talking to minors? Now, the main problem is this kind of advantage that adults have over minors. And also, it's really, really weird if you're 25 and want to be friends with a 16-year-old. That's a red flag, because what do you possibly have in common with a 16-year-old at 25 years old or older? Or, you know what I mean? Because me as a 21-year-old, I don't want to be friends with people who are under the age of 18 because that is really, really weird. Because there's one thing that a lot of people don't realize when they're younger, is that when you become an adult, your brain kind of switches from teenager, younger adult mode to, oh, I'm an adult now. Things kind of make sense. And during this natural process of kind of your brain developing, you gain the advantage over people who are younger than you because their brains have not developed yet. And that means every conversation you have with them, it's not good, okay? And the reason it's not good, because you're in an online chat. You know what I mean? If you're talking online through Discord, Instagram DMs, things like that, with people that are minors and you are an adult, even if it's in a group chat, guys, that is really weird. You should not want to be making friends with minors as someone in your 20s or older than that. That is really, really strange, because those are kids, guys. You don't need to be friends with them. You shouldn't have anything in common with them, and you shouldn't be talking to them like they're your friends, because there's a power dynamic there. And also, you should be making friends your own age if you're in your 20s. Because if you're making friends with minors, starting conversations with them, making new friends with minors. This isn't people that you've known for years, since you were younger. This means actively still doing that. That's strange. Don't do that. Because it's not just strange, it's very, very dangerous, and it makes me think that you are a questionable person. Because why are you talking to kids at that grown age? Now, if you are a minor and you've been talking to adults in chat rooms or Discord, Instagram DMs, things like that, make sure you pay real close attention to the signs and figure out, hey, maybe I shouldn't be talking to this person. Number one, if you're under the age of 18, especially if that's by a lot, and this person is over the age of 18, especially if that's by a lot, don't talk to them. You should not be friends with people who are that much older than you as a minor, only because a lot of them don't have your best interests in mind, which can either mean they are directly trying to harm you, or they will harm you accidentally because they have their own issues going on and they were never solved, and then they're putting that trauma onto a 16-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old talking is not an issue. They go to high school together probably, you know what I mean? And like a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old talking is, you know, not that bad. But if it goes into the direction of adult topics or relationships, guys, don't do it. If you are an adult, you have so much advantage over these children, and you shouldn't be talking to them about adult topics or anything, really. Don't do that. But there are plenty of spaces where you can talk to people your own age on the internet. Plenty of them. And if you're in like a really massive Discord server, for example, and there's like people of all different ages, still be careful and don't talk to minors if you're an adult. Guys, like, don't be friends with minors as an adult. And that's not saying like if there's like a 2-year, 3-year age difference. If it's like 5 years plus, stop in your tracks, guys. There is so much grooming and awful stuff that happens in both the therian and furry communities because of adults talking to minors as like friends. It's insane. And if you don't know what grooming is, it's basically where an adult is really, really nice to you and really, really friendly with you in order to use you and get something out of you. Grooming. Important to know. Internet safety, guys. But there are so many people in the furry and therian communities, especially the furry community, just because it's more adult-based, but that will just take advantage of younger people and kids. And it is so important to be careful and alert of this. Okay, now back to the thing about what you should look out for if you're a younger person talking to people on the internet. Now, if they are an adult and they are talking about adult topics in a chat with people that are not adults, block them, report them, call them out on it if it's in a group chat. Be like, hey, that's kind of a strange topic to bring up in a group chat with minors in it. Maybe we shouldn't bring that up. You can say that. Please say that. And if you feel like one of your friends is being groomed by someone on the internet, please talk to them and trusted adults and figure this out together, because it is even worse when you are alone or when they're trying to be separated from their friends. So listen, stick together and look out for your friends. But there is no reason that an adult who has not otherwise known the minor like previously for years or knows them in real life, there's no reason for you to be talking to each other if you're like in your mid-20s and they are like 15. No reason. There is not a single reason on this planet that you need to be talking to them. Just to be clear. And this ties into my own experiences because I, as an adult who posts therian content, get a lot of messages and comments from a lot of people who are minors, okay? And the thing is, I get a lot of messages asking to be friends, to talk, to chat, and usually I unfortunately just ignore them. See, the thing is, I really don't want to make friendships with people that are under the age of 18. It's inappropriate for me to have relationships with any of you guys who are under the age of 18 or to talk to you unless it's about business. So I tend not to. It's not because I don't like you guys or want to interact with my fans, it's just I don't feel comfortable. And most adults shouldn't feel comfortable talking to kids like directly in direct messages, just you and them. You know what I mean? Like, that should be something that I'm feeling. I should be uncomfortable by that, and you should too if you're also an adult or if you're a minor. Be wary when talking to adults on the internet. But I get messages all the time from kids who, you know, ask for advice or want things, but I just can't directly message you in like a chat unless it's a question or, you know what I mean? If you're asking me a question about therianthropy, sometimes I'll answer depending on how much time I have. I try to respond to comments, and the problem is I just get so many a day because I post so many videos that I get so many comments that they sometimes get lost. So if I don't reply, it's not because I didn't want to, it's just because there are so many comments. not that I'm complaining. I really love your comments, but there are a lot of them, so it is hard for me to reply to a lot of them. But another reason that I might not have replied is because you were asking to be friends and you're a minor, and it's just not something that's appropriate. Now, I'm not sure if this video is going to get a lot of backlash for me talking about how adults and minors shouldn't be interacting that regularly. But I think it's an important point to hit home because a lot of furries and therians don't seem to understand that there's a line there and that there's boundaries, and these boundaries need to be there because things get dangerous. Because one thing I've found about a lot of adults who interact with group chats and minors on the internet is that they are mentally ill usually, or at least have some kind of health struggle in their mind that they usually dump onto the other people in the chats. If you're kind of in a group chat and you see someone that's like venting a lot, or really like trying to lean on support and nobody is really helping even though they try, that's someone you probably don't want to be friends with in general. But if it's an adult doing that, that's also a red flag. They just probably need help and, you know, guidance, but they're getting it in the really wrong place and they're being inappropriate by putting that weight and pressure onto the rest of the people in the group chat. So if you're around someone like that, I'd probably leave, whether they're an adult or minor. It doesn't really matter, just kind of steer clear of people who tend to trauma dump and not heal and not take advice and just wallow in their own self-pity. That's kind of a person you'd want to avoid, especially if they were an adult and you're a minor, because that is the most dangerous combination, because that is an unstable person who is now talking to minors. So not a good mix. But posting NSFW content or 18 plus content in spaces where it can kind of go anywhere and minors can interact with it is really not a good choice. And also interacting with minors directly as an adult, also not a good choice. So if you do either of those things as an adult, stop. Don't do it. Stop. Well, thank you for watching this video. Sorry it was more of a internet safety PSA, but please, guys, take my advice, spread it around, let people know, because this community can get dangerous if we let it, and I don't want to let it. So we're going to keep things safe, and we're going to not interact with minors if we're an adult, and we're not going to interact with adults in personal spaces if you are a minor. We all want to stay safe. If you like this kind of content, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will make more videos for you guys very soon. I tend to post every single day, so I will see you guys next time. Oh my god, I was wearing my mask so long that it left a mark on my nose. I've been recording this video for like an hour. Anyway. Thanks for watching.